What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is the first video of a series of how to do an LS swap. In today's video, we're going to remove the camshaft, the timing set, oil pump, pickup tube, install a new cam, new timing set, new oil pump, reinstall everything, and get it just like it is as you see it right here. Let's do it. All right, guys, so to get to this spot here, of course, I had to remove the crank pulley. In my case, I don't have no special tool for a LS crank pulley. So what I done was used a 3-jaw puller and had to get kind of creative with a socket there at the end to get it off, but it worked just fine. I don't see if you having any issues using the 3-jaw puller to get that crank pulley off. I got the oil drained out of this engine. Now I'm gonna pull this front timing cover and see what it looks like under there. Pretty simple. Got some buildup in there. 2 billion miles on this motor probably. So. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna pull that crank bolt out. It's a 15/16. I'm gonna go ahead and remove our 4 bolts that hold the oil pump on. So this was my concern, is the oil pickup tube here. I don't know if that's my problem right now or what, but I'm going to figure that out. We got to pull the pan. I was kind of expecting that, but you know, it is what it is. Easy enough. Right here's our pickup tube. You can see that we have 1 bolt that has to be removed there. Pickup tube bolt. Opposed to fighting this, I'm just going to remove the pickup tube. There we go. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the upper timing sprocket off of the camshaft and the chain. That. There we go. All right, we got our sprocket and chain off. We're gonna go ahead and remove this cam plate, retainer plate. So I did order a new one, and it's probably best that I did. This one don't look great, so new one's in the mail. Ain't here yet, but it's in the mail. I do believe it did come with new bolts, but I don't want to lose these, and I want to know where they come from, so I'm gonna put them right there so they'll be safe. Now, we're going to remove the camshaft. Just like installing a camshaft, you want to be very careful, because I'm not too concerned with this camshaft. It's just trash, but I don't want to nick or scratch my bearings, my cam bearings, so just be careful. All right, it is out of there, and by the look of it, this thing's already got a big nasty cam in it. I'm lying, it stopped. But what you do want to do, go ahead and check where these cam journals were riding. This will tell you a lot about your engine. And these appear to be good. What you want to look for is scratches in these journals where this cam was riding on the bearings. So these look good. Of course, there's a few lines in them here and there, but the saying is, if you can't hang a nail on it, you're good to go. So I'm gonna say we're good to go. Maybe we'll turn this into a trophy for our rods and ribeyes. So what we're gonna do now is remove the lower timing chain sprocket. We're gonna do that with a bearing puller I got from Harbor Freight. I think it was like 50 bucks. So you probably rent one of these from O'Reilly's, but I like just having stuff on hand. So I just go ahead and buy any kind of specialty tools I need. So see if we can pull this thing off. So one thing I don't like about this puller is it didn't come with no kind of tip or point to go there. I'm gonna find me something to go on there. Now, so we'll go real slow. I'm gonna watch and make sure everything looks okay. Looks like it's messing my teeth up, but there it comes. All right. There it is. Pretty simple, right? This thing is ready for cam install and oil pump and put it back together. Obviously clean all this up, but there you have it. All right, so as y'all can see off camera, I cleaned this thing up and put a coat of paint on it. That's not necessary, so I'm not gonna show how I done that. Just know that if you wanna do that, be sure and get it good and clean. Tape everything off that you don't want painted. Tape it off with some masking tape and put several good coats on it. That way it'll look good. We're about to reinstall the cam, the timing set, and the oil pump. And we'll show you how I'm gonna do that. So one thing we definitely wanna do is make sure everything is nice and clean. Make sure there ain't no gasket material or anything on any of that. Or not necessarily gasket material, but oil or whatever it may be. All right, so all that should be getting clean. Give me some brake parts cleaner. And make sure all these surfaces are clean. I'm gonna spray it on my rag. Compressed air and just blow in there real good. Make sure I ain't got no lint or just anything. There we go. All right, before we put this cam in the engine, we want to go ahead and get it clean. So I'm just gonna spray this one down with some brake clean. So they put some kind of goo on it when they ship it. Take you a clean microfiber, wipe all that old junk off of there. We're gonna put some Simile lube on there. I'm gonna work this in on it good and get it coated good. So the more the merrier. So you want to be real careful going in here to not get crazy. You do not want to damage your cam bearings. Using my screwdriver as a handle. So when you get towards the end, be Be a little bit of a chore, but there we have it. So the next step is going to be installing the cam plate. Obviously you want to make sure it's clean. I'm going to take a very small amount of assembly lube, a very small amount of this assembly lube, and wipe it on that O-ring real thin. All right, so you want to use your supplied hardware. These have a T40 Torx bit, and these already have Loctite on them. If they do not have Loctite, you do want to use some blue Loctite here. So I'm going to run all of these in by hand. I'm going to torque them to 18 foot-pounds. Crisscross applesauce. Tighten them all up evenly. You can tell when they're getting snug. 18, 18, 18. Now let's confirm them. Cam plate is installed. Now we're going to install our lower timing gear. I've done kind of somewhat clean this already, so should be good to go there. As long as you don't get no high dollar one, this one's only got one slot in it, so it's a no-brainer where it goes. Want to make sure it's in the right orientation, obviously. We'll get a little bit of my assembly lube and put on here just to help us. It's not required here, but can't hurt anything, right? Make sure it's in the correct orientation. Almost there. Then we're going to take our old timing gear. Again, be easy. Don't tell nobody you've done it this way. It'll be okay. Again, no big huge wax. Just tap it on there. You'll be able to look right here at the back, and you'll see when you get it where you need it. You'll be able to tell. Working your way around it in a circle. Don't just hit right here on the top or at the bottom. Just work your way all around. And it is all the way, I do believe. One more love tap for good measures. It's there. I'm gonna do this with this old crank bolt. Get it tight. It's a 15/16. We're watching this piston right here. Number 1 piston at TDC. Got our dot on our lower sprocket pointing straight up. We're going to line up this dot on our upper sprocket, that dot on the lower sprocket. That simple. We'll go ahead and just test fit it here. We'll go ahead and get it in the right place before you put the chain on. It's got to be right. Also want to check your chain. Make sure there's no kind of markings or anything indicating that one side should be outside. This one's the same all the way. So. Pull one off until you'll know when you get it right. You ain't got no choice but to get it right, and it ain't gonna work right if you don't. So our cam bolts here, starting to rain. I hope it don't affect our sound quality, which already sucks. What we want to do here is no Loctite at first. Get them all started. Run them all the way in hand tight. Go ahead and torque these down to 26 foot-pounds. Then we're going to come back and remove them one at a time and put on blue Loctite. And of course, we don't want to just go straight to 26. We want to ease around on them. Ease around. Snugging them up one at a time. Just barely bumping it. And slowly work our way to the 26 foot-pound. There's 1, 2, 3. Double check them. All right, now we're gonna back off one at a time. We'll start with this bottom one. Bring it all the way out. We put red on these. If we ever got to tear this thing apart, we're gonna need some heat to get it apart. So, turn it back in. Torque that one back down. All right. Next one up. All right, so there you have it. Got this mark and this mark lined up. Top dead center. These are torqued. Lower sprocket strobe all the way on. We're gonna put our oil pump on if I can find some Loctite. And this thing's getting pretty close. So, getting ready to put the oil pump on. This is gonna be a little bit messy because I went ahead and soaked it, but that'll be all right. We're gonna get through it. So these bolts here, we're gonna torque to 18 foot-pounds. They're also a 10 millimeter. This oil pump here just goes straight to the block. There's no O-ring or seal or anything. You want to make sure that's clean. I already done that. Want to make sure you got the proper orientation. Gonna bolt up. Slide it over. Their timing gear, if I can ever get it. All right, there's a. I don't know if you can hear me or not at all. I got to, I'll voice over this, but it is raining like crazy right now in the shop. Blue Loctite on there. Put each of these in with some blue Loctite and just run them in hand tight. Coming to a tsunami. All right, all of them are just hand tight. Now with this Melling oil pump, you don't have to use the 4,000 shims and all that. They recommend rolling the engine around one full rotation. There we go, back to top dead center. And then torque them down to 18 foot-pounds. That's simple. All right, so as you can see here, we have turned the engine over. We have determined that we have our correct O-ring on our pickup tube. We want to look at your directions and determine for sure that you have it right. Back into position. There we go. You want to be sure and push this into your pump and make sure it's seated. 10 millimeter. And I don't know the torque specs on this, so I'm gonna do it just like this. I'm sure somebody knows the torque specs. Put it in the comments for the next person that's doing this. I'm gonna snug it down just like that. So these right here are holding the pickup tube and this tray in. I'm sure there is a torque spec for them, but I can tell you that it's not really crucial. Just get them where they won't come off. I'm gonna do some easy little ugga duggas on them. Pickup tubes installed. I did clean this up some because it was really bad dirty. Obviously it's not perfect, but should be good enough for what I'm doing. I have already installed my new gasket right here for my crankshaft. I've cleaned all this up already, so I'm going to get my new seal gasket here, all my bolts over here, and start getting this together. I'm gonna do a very, very thin layer of proper orientation of my gasket. Let's get some duggers on it. I want to torque these, but I just want to use this to get them close. I'm going to torque these to 18 foot-pounds. All right, so now that I got the front cover on, I'm gonna go ahead and clean my oil pan up, and we'll get in on that taken care of. Let's see. All right, so we want to check for our proper orientation of our oil pan and gasket. Sure and have all these started before we go to running this down into place, because we want to make sure everything's on there straight. I'm going to use my impact and just run them all up close. I'm not going to tighten them at all with this. Take my torque wrench and take all these to 10 foot-pound, starting in the middle. All right, so all of them are at 10 now. So they're all at 10. I'm going to go up to 18. Got our oil pan on. We're going to go ahead and install this oil cooler block off plate while we got this thing turned over like this. And of course, like everything else I've done, I'm gonna make sure that's clean with a razor blade, and then I'm gonna put a small amount of assembly lube on the mating surface. So there's our block off plate. Pretty simple. It's a bypass actually. You don't want to just block it off. You still need it to flow. So you want to get a bypass plate if you're not running an oil cooler. I'm not sure about the torque specs on this, but again, this is one of those things that's not really crucial. If you don't feel comfortable just winging it, you might want to Google this, but these are pretty small bolts, and I'm just going to snug it down like that. There we go. All right, thank y'all for watching. Come back on the next one to see me get the heads prepped and ready to go on the engine. We're going to get the lifters installed, push rod, rocker arms, get all that done on the next video. So tune back in to see it.